Guys, what's going
Save the
on?
day, save the day.
Save the date. What's going on? Welcome to another episode. I'm one of your hosts, Heath.
Okay, y'all, this is Jamie, and today,
Today, let's just get into some business at Save the Date Now, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So let's talk about today's episode. Today's episode is all about the perils of self-promotion. And what do we mean by that is oftentimes when we go out on a date, we project a fake self to those that we're dating or trying to meet. We are signaling about our social status. We're signaling about our money. We're signaling about our position. We're signaling about our pedigree. We're signaling about our sexual prowess. All the things that we may feel comfortable marketing because we are good at those things or we are in possession of things, i.e. money or social status. Two, we believe that's what that person wants to hear because we're so anxious and at times desperate to seal the deal that we never really truly deal with who we are. Because if we market that fake self, if we market all of what we think we are as opposed to who we really are, we never stick out and we reduce the awkwardness. We reduce the opportunity for being rejected and we reduce the opportunity of someone really seeing us naked, who we truly are and what we're truly about. And for many of us, because we haven't taken the time to truth with ourselves, spend time with ourselves, and invest in ourselves, this is the scariest proposition ever, to really reveal to others, more importantly to ourselves, who we really are. And we're talking about self-promotion because we've been through it. Maybe we've done it, Jay and I say maybe because I don't know Jay's full stories, but I know my own. I've done it. And then two, we hear a lot of people doing it. They're either putting on the makeup of who they are, signaling, again, aspects of themselves that may be true, but are not an authentic representation of who they are because they know if they market who they are, that's going to lead to a tougher road to connection. Because if I really tell you what I'm into, whether it be my kinks, or if I really tell you what I'm into, whether it be my true social status or where I come from, yeah, I got this Benz and this nice apartment, but I grew up in the projects or I grew up in a trailer. And that lifestyle still resonates with me because that's who my family is and that's where we come from. But I mask that with where I'm at now and how much money I make in my six-figure job. These are the things we do so that we can quote unquote fit in as opposed to stand out and be uniquely ourselves. But here's the thing, when you never show who you uniquely are, you never find your person that is uniquely tailored to you. So let's get into this today and just talk about this because Jay and I in our private conversations have been talking this week about it because what we've noticed is when people talk about they want to be with somebody, they ultimately default to the fake selves that they've created. Now, listen, if you deal with Daniel Winnicott's work, there's no such thing as you trouncing on your fake self. Your fake self is there for a reason. Many of us were thrust into circumstances based on traumas, dangers, and environments that we didn't ask to be put in. And consequently, we had to adapt to survive. Some of us adapted in an environment of violence. Some of us adapted in environments of anger. Some of us adapted in environments of fear. And we became people in order to survive. We developed a person, quote unquote, in order to survive. And it might have started from childhood and led well into our adulthood. But as we slowly emerged out of those environments and were able to immerse ourselves in environments that more resonated with who we are, we started to realize I'm really not this person. I remember reading Guy Garcia's book, The Decline of Men. And in the book, he is dealing with the decline of men. Oddly enough, he's talking about this topic almost 15 years ago, where now seems to be a popular trending topic. And in the book, he interviewed a guy in jail, prison, this guy who had served, crazy years in prison. He was out at the time of the interview, but he talked about how violent he was in prison, just to the point where he had to be restrained from other prisoners. He bit another prisoner's ear off. He just wasn't someone to be messed with. And when Guy Garcia was interviewing him, he was talking about this hyper-aggressive display of masculinity that many men either identify with in prison or outside of prison. He talks about when he left prison and he would talk to people that he was in prison, he would notice guys' shoulders get a little bit more broad and their traps would get a little bit big as if they had to perform in front of him to let him know, well, I haven't been in prison, but I ain't one to be messed with. And now this gentleman, as he's being interviewed, is in what he called his soft era. He doesn't want to fight. He obviously doesn't want to bite anyone's ear off. He just wants to be himself. But again, he went through this fake self to survive horrible experiences and horrible environments. And that self-served him, but now he was able to emerge and immerse out of that environment, immerse himself in a new environment where finally he could relax, he could just be himself and finally be able to encounter real concepts that matter to him, like peace, love, and joy. And this is what we have to talk about when we talk about self-promotion. A lot of us haven't necessarily immersed ourselves in environments that allow us to be ourselves. And some of us haven't done that because we haven't done the work of identifying who we are. And more importantly, we haven't done the work of loving ourselves, finding who we are and what we are to the world that's natural and authentic to us. Jay talked about this in a previous podcast when we were talking about games people play. The importance of authenticity, the importance of being your authentic self, your genuine self. If you don't locate who you are or locate your authentic person, or you're not as intimate or intimate at all with that person, you're always going to be self-promoting because you think that's going to be the easiest path to getting your person. But many of us are like that broken record. We keep playing and going back to the same spot, playing and going back to the same spot. We keep showcasing our social status and attracting fake people who don't care about us. And the moment they think that social status is in danger, they leave us. Some of us are marketing our sexual prowess and our sexual skills, how we beat it up in the bedroom. And we keep doing that and thinking that it's going to lead to a long-term relationship. And we end up in these transactional situationships or long-term friends with benefits. Some of us are marketing our money and wondering why we keep finding people who only display the greed side of themselves to us, but we've led with greed. So why would they lead with anything else or respond to anything else? Because we've led with greed. These are some of the cycles that we follow with our in our cipher, but more importantly, that we follow in the larger modern dating world. And we want to talk about the perils of doing this. Jay, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I would just say that there's a lot of rejection that comes with being your authentic self. So I think a lot of people aren't inclined to do that, but there's more benefit to that if we're talking about long-term connection. I think to your point about self-promotion, well, I look at it as like, what's the overall goal? You know, if what the things you're self-promoting aren't aligned with what you want, then you probably need to reevaluate. Um, like this conversation came off the heels of an offline conversation about a story that I had shared with you about somebody, marketing their oral skills to me, somebody I'm not intimate with, but somebody who wants to be. But they say that they wanted to be more in a long-term situation, but that was what they were marketing to me, their oral skills. And I'm like, that's enough to whet my appetite, but I may not stay for a whole 4-course meal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
may get some finger food and light hors d'oeuvres and be out, because that's what oral skills are kind of conducive to. Something that is not abiding, something that's not lasting, that's temporary. I'll get off on that for a couple of minutes, or, however good you are, however long I can last, and then that'll be that. So, as long as what you're marketing and what you're promoting is aligned with what you say your overall goal is, you're in good shape. But if not, then you need to reevaluate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is definitely the context we're talking about, because most of when we talk about dating and saving the date is really for a lot of people who want that long-term commitment, who want that sustainable longevity with their person or persons. Yeah, I mean, I've heard those stories either from my women friends or from my male friends. Once you, and I think this is the issue. Once you say that you want long-term, let me take it from the guy's perspective, because I'm a guy. If you're signaling to me that you want to be with me, that you're really interested in getting to know me, stepping into my world, and not carrying my pain, but bearing witness to my pain. Not being a servant, but being in a mode of service and participation. And you seem to be, once you're stating that, but then you seem to be signaling other things, whether it be sex, interest in who I know, interest in my social status, my class, how much money I have, who I can connect you to in my network. Now, to me, all those things are a part of a relationship, no doubt. Don't have a problem with the money, don't have a problem with the social status or any level of sharing in all those aforementioned items. But when you're signaling those things to me first, but you're telling me you want to be with me, you're showing me you're not interested in.
Really? I think that's probably more so what the ladies would say is, because that's what they're looking for.
To me, I'm talking about to me. If there is no
Oh, I see.
inclusion,
Are you saying you as the person looking at this behavior?
yeah.
Got you.
If
Okay.
if you're not interested in my story, you're not interested in connecting with me about my pain, you're
Mm-hmm.
not interested
Your
in
character.
my character, you're not exploring what kind of type of man I am and my POV, my perspective or points of view about the world, if you're not getting into my family structure, my connection to family, which is big to me, you're really not signaling to me that you care about me. Now, I'm a big sex guy. We had a sex podcast called Love God, Love Sex. Go back and watch some of the episodes, guy. But I would put sex third or fourth. And I'm known as to be Mr. Sensual, but I would still put that third or fourth in when you're talking to me, if you're talking to me about a long-term relationship. Are you talking about goals, vision? Are you talking about soul work? Are you talking about self-improvement? Are you talking about triumphs? Are you interested in how I solve problems? Are you interested in my anger, my fear? Not that you should carry my anger or fear, but definitely you should be evaluating it.
Big facts. Because those are things that can end a relationship.
And it could be unsafe for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're saying you're interested in me in a relationship,
Yeah.
I want you to protect yourself. So you should be asking me questions to interrogate how I get angry, how I deal with fear, what I get frustrated about. How do I deal with my frustrations? Am I loving, kind, and responsive, but boundaried? Or do I present that I'm loving, kind, and boundaried? Those are two different things. Are you interrogating that? Because these are all aspects and activities that are part of the true dating connection, let's be in a relationship process. We can always get to the sex. We can always get to the
I
head.
got a question here. When you say, are you showing these things or presenting these things? Say more.
What I mean by presenting them is, are you talking to me about these things? Number one, are you questioning me? Is that coming up in conversation when we talk and we talk about, this happens all the time in conversation with anyone. You start off talking about the state of affairs of the federal shutdown, and that may lead to politics. And that may lead to a difference in opinions on politics. Are you sitting with what I'm saying, even though we may disagree? Are you disagreeable? Do you still want to deal with me even though you disagree with me? Do I still want to deal with you if I disagree with you? Am I shutting you down and shutting up the conversation? Are you doing the same? Or are we agreeing to disagree? Are we taking a powder to come back and resolve the issue even if it gets hot? What is happening throughout the beats of our conversation, night in and night out, about real tangible topics that matter in a relationship? Listen, I am Mr. Central. I'll spend all day in the bedroom, all night too, and the next day and the next night. But as much as I may maximize my bedroom time, I will spend more time outside of my bedroom doing work that matters, like this podcast or connecting with friends, helping out family, working, goal setting, goal achieving, goal fulfillment, soul fulfillment, everything from walking to working out, traveling to experiencing new people and places. This is what I'm about. And if I find that we always kind of snake the conversation back to sex, we always snake the conversation back to money, we always snake the conversation back to what makes, in my opinion, you feel good about what I have that's external to me, that I've achieved, that may be a social status amplifier or multiplier for you, I'm going to have questions about why you're really talking to me.
Yeah.
Now you get with me and you say, hey, this is what it is, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
And I agree to it.
And I agree to it. It's about the bedroom. It's about, hey, listen, I want to be with a dude and rock with a dude for a minute who could do these things for me. If you could do these things for me, we can have some fun. You just let me know what your type of fun you're into. And if I can agree to it, then we can have fun. But this is about fun first. Connection second. If we get that. If we don't, then we just know what we're doing here. Don't send me connection first. Then I hear all the language from fun always being blasted over the megaphone of the relationship.
Man.
Or the interactions.
Man, that's so hard to decipher. Because I've heard women say stuff like, or, he was doing boyfriend things. And I'm like, well, what are boyfriend things? Like, oh, he was being nice to me and he was listening to me when I talked.
Yes, I've heard this too.
He was being friendly and kind and like a gentleman. And I'm like, well, what would be acceptable behavior or what would be just normal behavior for you, not boyfriend behavior or doing boyfriend things? And it's like they expect a guy to show up like that, but if it's from a romantic driver, or that's the driver, if that's the interest, then they want it to be specific to them in some kind of way. And I'm just like, yo, I guess a guy could show you all of those things that you want, but do they really want you? Like, does that mean, because I heard Scott Gallery talking about this, and I think we had looked at this clip together, but essentially he was saying, a guy could show you all of the things you want to see just to be able to sleep with you.
Yeah, even sociopaths can mimic friendliness and warmth.
And these women will think, "Oh, well, this is now my weight class for dating."
Mhm,
Because this seven-figure guy with all of his status and money slept with me or gave me a shot with him, this must be my weight class
mhm. For relationships.
for relationships. And so they start now expecting every guy, like that's the bar now.
Yeah. Your sex bar becomes your relationship bar. When in reality, your sex bar is just your sex bar.
And this guy, so that what I'm saying is this guy was promoting all of those things that would signal to her, I'm showing you this because I want a long-term relationship, when all he really wanted was the draws.
Oh, he wanted was a quickie. He can make the bed spring, bring the one the mercy.
So it's like that becomes so difficult to decipher, man. If somebody's not honest with their intentions and what they're really doing. Like that's really, I think, part of the conversation that has to be highlighted, because we're saying all of this assuming that, that people the right way, when we know that's not the case.
Well, yeah, it's not a straight line, and there's a lot of discernment and almost CSI level detective analysis
The vetting
that
process
it
got to
has
be
to go
elite.
into how you're interacting with someone. Because, like I just mentioned earlier, a few moments ago, even sociopaths can mimic warmth and friendliness to get what they want out of you.
Right.
This is why I said in the previous podcast, the ultimate test, not the perfect test, the ultimate test of who or what someone's about is alignment between what they say and do over
Over
time.
time.
Them being consistent with keeping their word over
You
time,
got to
being
see the
reliable
pattern.
and yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you really shouldn't just be buck wilding and talking to multiple people at the same time. I'm not saying don't date. Obviously you go on day here, but sometimes we get in a good run with people and we're still out there trying to flip eggs and like a short order cook, just trying to respond to orders because they're coming in so quickly instead of being like, yo, listen, I got what I needed over here. I'm gonna keep it pushing.
Yeah. Let me just focus on this
Yeah, one order
one
at a
meal.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, one order at a
Right.
time. One order
Yeah.
at a time. Once I'm done with this order, and okay, next one.
Because really, that's all we got the capacity for.
True, especially in this busy world where people feel lonely, depressed, confused, and what they feel like they're constantly wrestling with chaos.
The pressure's every day pulling on us too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean, absolutely. So I think that we just can't let go of what it means to be authentically ourselves and to discern these signals. Because you're right, it's not going to be just a simple one-to-one. But I've heard people say when you're spending time, to go back to your saying about women, and you're listening and you're engaging, you're doing boyfriend work because most guys will hit and be like, yo, thanks a lot, cool, peace. I'm not asking you what you want before we get in the bed. I'm not interested
Right.
in what gets you off. If you get off, great. If you don't, I got off, peace.
I got
Because
mine.
the goal was for me to get off, and you just supposed to be here to be used as a vessel. Thanks for the vessel. You may get a thank you, may not. You may just get a hey, good night, man. Oh, yo, you know what? Great time. I'll text you later. They text you later, 2 weeks later when they want you to come back and do it again. 5 a.m. We
We
leaving the
gonna do
club.
it again.
6 a.m. I'm digging her out. 6:15.
I'm kicking her out. Right.
Listen to the lyrics of the song.
Yeah. It's
6:15.
a
I'm
loop.
kicking her out.
7 a.m. I'm gonna call my friends. 12 a.m. We're gonna
We're
do it
gonna do it
again.
again.
Yeah. It's a loop.
It's a loop. And
Yeah.
in that loop is no place for connection, kindness, listening, and personalization of your service attitude or service orientation to that person, that other person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just to bring it back to the topic of the show, the perils of self-promotion is you got to realize when you put out a self that is not in alignment with what you say your goal is, you are going to continually be frustrated. And as we said
Mhm.
before, that you're going to frustrate and get frustrated and get frustrated and get frustrated, and then you're going to break. And that leads to abandonment, cycles of abandonment and rejection, which open the doors for mental health issues.
Yeah.
And we talked several episodes ago about self-love. That is the true pathway to getting to your dating peak. You can't do this without loving yourself and accepting yourself. You may be able to do it for a little bit and pass into through the gate, but you'll never get a seat at the table. And this is just a sad topic for me because I was one of these people who was not focused on self-love. I was one of these people who was not focused on appreciating who I was. Now, I ended up in a long-term relationship, but that long-term relationship, guess what? Had issues, inflamed by me because I was not in a place of being self-centered. So what am I doing now? I'm creating problems for my mate because now she's bearing the burden of my confusion, my anger, my fear, all symptoms of somebody who is not self-centered, meaning centered in loving themselves. Not self-centered as meaning selfish. So you don't get away from it. because you may end up like me, roll that dice, hit that felt. Someone next to you got snake eyes, got drug out the back into the alleyway. You got the chips in the middle. You walk out the casino, and just like most of our people who win lotto, you have it, and 5 years later, you don't have it because you never had the mentality or the mindset to keep it. So you don't have it. You don't have it. You had it, but if you had it, you'd
You'd
have it.
have it. Yeah, if you had it, you'd have it.
If you had it, you'd have it. So don't think you're going to get away from it. Don't think you just, let me just, put on the Trojan horse or tiptoe on by and now I got into the party. We're still going to see if you know how to dance once you get to that party.
Yeah, once the music come on and
People
everybody else
tell,
is grooving and seeing who's on the dance floor, yeah, they're gonna be looking at you.
you're going to be found out.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you guys, better to do it on the front end because I did it on the back end and created chaos in my own life, created chaos in my mate's life, collateral damage, overreaching. I mean, I hear women on TikTok talking about overextending themselves for men. And some men talk about that for women too, but I'm talking about women now. I don't think you should ever be in a position for your mate to overextend themselves for something that you could have easily worked on yourself before you got.
But bro, I think you had mentioned this earlier, is like how many people are willing to do that work?
I don't know. I think there's some people who just don't know, and then once they figure it out, they do the work. And some people just won't do the work because it's too scary to do the work because loving themselves is too scary.
Yeah. It may be a lot of people that don't know that they're actually putting that on their partner or their mate to, because I mean, I've expressed and shared this with you before. I've heard overcompensate for a deficiency. I mean, to put that on somebody is, is literally chaos. It's hell.
It is. It is hell.
You know what I mean? Especially for someone who may genuinely want to love you, but they are being saddled with your work and they were never built or meant to do your work.
Yes.
Like the work that you need, like you talk about, whatever benefits are supposed to come from the self-love you do with yourself, that time that you truth with yourself, whatever's supposed to come from that, your partner can't give you that. No one else can give you that.
No.
So if you're leaning on them to fill a void or to complete you, because I know that was big when Jerry Maguire came out, like the whole "you complete me" thing. But if you're looking for someone to do that, yeah, just recognize that to a lot of people, what you are promoting is a life of hell.
I agree. Perdition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. You
Struggle,
are.
disappointment, resentment,
Destruction.
anger, is all going to build up because of this unrealistic expectation for someone to give you something that you're deficient in that only you can give yourself.
And don't get me wrong, there are times where you guys will struggle together. You both starting a business, and I've never done a business before, and you've never done a business. Well, then you're going to grow together in it. And that's when you do then say, okay, you agreed, I agree. Now we're going to struggle together. Understandable. There are things, first time parents, there are things you are going to struggle together. Where I'm saying when there was something that you could have worked on, you had access to work on, namely yourself, and you chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
You chose to hide when you should have been exposed and healed by the sun of your own joy, and you chose not to. Well, then
Or
here
like you
comes,
said, you just didn't know how.
sometimes you didn't know how. I
Yeah.
wasn't as aware of my issues. Now looking back, I can look at my issues very clearly. I see, right? It's like when people name a disease and they have a treatment and then they're able to have therapeutics for the disease and they can talk extensively about the disease and there's 50 years of research behind the disease. They can say, I don't even know why we even struggled with this. But before we had all that research and those therapeutics and the interventions and those miracle cures,
This is what it was.
it was very difficult. Think about
Mhm.
polio. Now there's the polio vaccine. Where's polio? But there's people who were suffering from polio. Look at Franklin Delano Roosevelt, one of our presidents. So now we're like, polio, Marco Polo, Henrietta Lacks, we know from her, what happened to her. But all jokes aside, and it's not about Henrietta Lacks, I'm just saying in general, look at how we look at polio now. But before that vaccine dropped, polio was a problem. It's the same thing. Like, looking back, I didn't realize how much I had and then what to do to get there. And sometimes it's just timing. I'll be frank with you. I've talked to Jay about this offline. A lot of the peaking I'm experiencing right now, I'm getting a lot of good feedback in so many different areas of my life that I have struggled to get good feedback in because we all are seeking to excel. I had a cousin say it one day, all human beings desire to succeed in any environment that they're in. And you're struggling to be successful in whether your friend environment, your social environment, your professional environment, your personal environment. And I was struggling for a lot of reasons. Some I still don't understand why though. And some of it I just think is just timing. It was better for me to do it now than there. But you got to get through that bad to get to that good, especially if it's a timing issue. Because sometimes, and this is a larger spiritual conversation, is this for people to locate their own spiritual feelings and concepts about this. Sometimes when it's a timing issue, you still got to get through the bad to get to the good to get to the right time. And that's difficult because I really can't say why I had low self-esteem. There was no reason to. Some of it, I think, was you inherit your parents' anxiety system, just a combination of factors that I'm still trying to sleuth out to this day. I know where I'm at and I'm grateful for where I'm at, but it was difficult. It was difficult. So I don't, again, like you said earlier, this is not just a straight line of, oh, okay, I know that I'm hiding. I'm choosing to hide. Therefore, whatever happens is going to happen. And whoever I bring down with me happens. I don't think it's that malicious. I do think there is sometimes some awareness, not, but I still want to feel loved. I want to be loved. And I got to figure that out. Oh, I'm with somebody. Okay, great. And then implosion after implosion, explosion after explosion. And hopefully, if you have a heart to heal and serve and be kind to the other person, you start getting the help you need so that you can stop imploding and stop causing explosions. Explosive. That's cool.
Yeah, them implosions, if you're not doing that self work, they are on the horizon.
So if you've moved on already to that and you realize you need help, get the help. Seek a clinician's help, seek a therapist's help. Don't be afraid to do so.
Yeah. Use your friend groups and your family groups too. Whatever community you have to help with that.
Lean on them.
Yeah, for real.
Because like we said, the title of this episode was The Perils of Self-Promotion. If you continue to promote parts of yourself that are not authentic or genuine to you, and I'll take it a step further, if you promote parts of you that are genuine, but in a way just to get over on people, it's anything trafficking that dark energy, you're going to get darkness back.
Yeah.
Some people will get it soon and a quick, immediate response. Some people will get it later, but it's going to, you're going to reap what you sow.
And sadly, a lot of people get it on the other side of I do.
That's a conversation.
They've attached their horse to that cart. They're on that journey 3, 5, 10 years in. And like, oh my God, realizing that they've been trafficking, they've been part of somebody's dark energy traffic operation. And yeah, man, yeah, it could be tough. So yeah, make sure you're doing all of that work on the front end.
For sure.
To bring a better, more healed, whole self to the relationships you're saying you want. And again, I have to stress this because I don't want to moralize it and only say it's good or associated with long-term results. Like even if you want it to be casual, just be good to yourself and other people. That's just a baseline for how we should be treating people out here.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, whether you're asking for her dad's hand in marriage or you just beating it tonight, you can make sure she's eating. You can make sure her physical safety is intact.
Yeah.
Whether he is proposing to you on one knee or just eating it on both knees.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can ask him about his day and ask him how he's doing. We can keep each other's humanity intact in these situations, whether they are casual or long-term.
Yeah.
That work is beneficial and relevant in both scenarios. That self-work.
Yeah, for sure.
And on that note,
this has been another episode, guys. Thank you for listening. Another episode of Save the Date. I'm one of your hosts, Heath.
I'm Jamie, y'all. Till next time.
Till next time. Take care.
Peace.